You know, Bill Belichick, Robert Kraft, Tom Brady apparently going at it, not seeing eye to eye, according to some reports. Then those three come out and say everything's fine. They're as strong together as ever. What do you think about that?
Let's see. We tried Spygate. That didn't work. Then we tried Deflategate. That didn't work. So we were 2-0 Patriots versus ESPN. So now we're getting to the end of the illustrious careers of Mr. Belichick and Brady, and they said, well, we got to go one more time. So this is their effort, again, to come out with an article, and not one person will go on record as saying that they provided any information for this article. So what's that make you think, buddy?
Oh, well, we know the relationship between the Patriots and ESPN isn't exactly a great one. But, you know, some of the things they tried to talk about was that Belichick didn't want Garoppolo traded. Kraft made him trade him by the deadline. That put a bad taste in Brady's mouth, thinking that Belichick was ready to put Garoppolo in for Brady. And, TC, I know we talked about it a little before the show. Here's the thing with Tom Brady. You look at the way he's playing this year, he's in the MVP race. And he doesn't look like the Tom Brady of old that we're used to seeing. You can just tell there's something that's not quite right and not quite there with the Tom Brady we're used to seeing. So even with Tom Brady being down, he's still up for MVP. What does that say about this guy? And I told you, I think when he retires, we'll be able to call him the greatest of all time. And I think this is just further proof.
I think that when you really look back, there's no doubt that you can, at this point in time, narrow it down to 4 or 5 quarterbacks that have played above the game at the time they were playing. And clearly Tom Brady is, of this generation, of this last 20 years, 17 years, that guy. Will he be the greatest ever when it's all said and done? Montana played a different game. You know, the receivers were restricted. It was more physical in the secondary. But in terms of leadership on the field, in terms of being that coach on the field, I just don't know that there's anybody out there that can line up against Brady in that. I just think his acumen is second to none. And frankly, I think that you look at an ESPN who is struggling, I mean, absolutely struggling to be successful. And they've got to create this information. Nobody goes to watch ESPN Sports Center anymore because you can look at your phone and hear it in 10 seconds. So they've got to come up with this stuff. And I think that's part that, and I think it's part, you know, where there's smoke, there's fire. We'll never know. There's no way Robert Kraft, Jonathan Kraft, Belichick, that staff, Brady, are coming out of the closet. It's not happening.
I have to agree with you, TC, and I know we'll talk a lot more Patriots as the show goes on, but some other things that are at the top of the headlines. What an eventful week for UCF and their supporters and all their naysayers going at it with UCF saying that they're the real national champions of college football. And then you got plenty of people that are saying that what they're doing is a disservice to college football and it's an embarrassment to the American Athletic Conference. I couldn't disagree more. I love it. I love that UCF is calling themselves national champions. They did everything in their power, and we'll get more into that as the show goes on. We'll have Rock Riley on, host of the Rock Riley Show on 1040, The Team, NBC Sports, Monday through Friday, 3 to 6. And he'll break it down a little more for us. I know he's had a lot of callers and a lot of guests on that really have gone both ways. Some think that it's a good thing. Some think it's a bad thing. And then, of course, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the NFL playoffs starting today. And, you know, got a couple of great games. We'll have NFL writer Greg LaFountain of Sports Talk Florida on to break down some of these games today. And it's going to be a great, great show, TC. I can't wait. John Gruden expected to be the next head coach of the Oakland Raiders, soon to be Vegas. It's going to be quite interesting, and quite frankly, I'm ready to get it going. Let's talk a little bit about John Gruden, though, TC. 10 years, $100 million.
Chucky goes to Vegas.
Is he really worth $100 million in your opinion?
Well, as a football coach?
Well, he's not getting any ownership. That was all just a rumor. There is no ownership in that deal.
Not my point. From a marketing standpoint of a team going to Vegas, what a face. What a perfect face for that organization. Pure football coach, Good with quarterbacks.
Good with quarterbacks. How, though? Who's he really developed? You look at his time in Oakland, he had Rich Gannon, who was already established in the league, comes to Tampa, wins a Super Bowl with Brad Johnson, who was already a league vet. Brian Griese after Brad Johnson. Then you had Bruce Gradkowski and Chris Sims, neither of which really developed into much. I mean, really, this guy hasn't developed a quarterback. So that's one of my biggest things with John Gruden is everyone wants to refer to him as this quarterback whisperer, this quarterback guru, a guy who can build up quarterbacks. Who has he built up? There's nobody.
Well, let's go back to Johnson.
Okay.
Serviceable.
Game manager.
Yeah, game manager. Serviceable at best. That extra 10% as your whisperer, as you call it, makes a difference to me. I think he understands the mindset of a quarterback. Now, has he proven it on a level, say, of I don't even have a good comparison here. Brady coming up as a 6th-round draft pick where nobody in the league thought he was anybody. No, we haven't seen that. But from what we hear from within the system, from other coaches, from other leaders within the league, that is his strong point. You don't get that by accident. That's just not because you have Gruden quarterback camp on ESPN.
I think it could be, though, TC. They gas him up so much, and he's been out of coaching so long. And now and real quick, another thing that I have about John Gruden is he did win a Super Bowl with the Bucs. Now, some people want to argue it was Tony Dungy's team. John Gruden just got him over the edge. I'm one of those people. I think Tony Dungy built that team. He just didn't have the offensive mind, and Gruden kind of lucked out by walking into that situation. Now he's going to Oakland, where he's got one of the best young quarterbacks in the game, Derek Carr, who Gruden doesn't really even need to develop. Derek Carr was doing a heck of a job developing on his own, and under Jack Del Rio, who's not much of a quarterback guy. And Derek Carr, now granted, this past season, Oakland did not look like the 12-4 team they were the year before, but Derek Carr was hurt a lot of the year. Now Gruden's walking in, he's got Amari Cooper on offense, Derek Carr on offense. He's got a solid tight end core. He's got Khalil Mack in a defense that just – they weren't in sync this year. They get in sync. They're a deadly defense to go up against. He's walking into a great situation, and TC, but I don't know that he's worth $100 million over 10 years.
Here's the thing. I hear what you're saying. Oh, he came in after Dungy. All the respect in the world for Dungy. I look at head coaches in the NFL now as orchestrators of men. They take 50, 60 guys, and they find a way to make that one. If they can do that, they're successful. If they're not, they're the front page of the newspaper every day for every dumb little thing that could ever happen. You look at these teams, Coughlin's a perfect example. Look what happened with the Giants the minute Coughlin walked out the door. That whole team imploded. I look at Gruden as that kind of guy who's going to be able to rally a team in a totally different way than Coughlin, by the way, but bring it together as one. What do you think?
That's going to be interesting to see because, look at his career record, 95 and 81. That's nothing really to write home about. The thing that benefits him is he's got the talent that he's walking into. Now, if he can keep it all together, that's going to be great. I honestly don't know what else to make of it, though, TC. I don't like the hire. I don't think he's worth $100 million over 10 years. It's a name, and I think it's going to bring plenty of attention and plenty of dollar signs to the organization, but I think that's getting away from what the main goal is. The main goal isn't to have as many eyes on your organization as you can possibly have. It's to win a freaking Super Bowl. And that'll bring the attention if they win a Super Bowl. That
depends who you're talking to in the organization. The owner wants that money. That Davis family, they are not stupid. They make a lot of money.
Mark Davis and his Friar Tuck haircut.
Whatever that haircut is a rich haircut.
That might be.
And now they're going to Vegas. First, we never thought we'd see this. And what better team to go there than the Raiders? You think Rebels when you think the Raiders. And now you think Chucky, and that fits too from a marketing standpoint. And a guy who spent a lot of time on that side of the fence in sports, it makes all the sense in the world. And that $100 million, trust me when I tell you, buddy, will be absorbed in about 10 seconds in marketing before we even worry about one down being played. I think Gruden's right for the city of Vegas. He won't get caught up in the BS. He's been in the media for so long now. I think he's a leader of men. Is he the best coach out there? Probably not. I personally think that there are a lot of other coaches that are available out there right now that will end up somewhere else. You look at those 2 coordinators in New England, they've been there for 2 minutes. They've been there a long time, and they get it done.
And there's a reason they're getting interviewed for some of these other openings.
But neither one of them were right for the Raiders.
No, I can agree to that.
He's perfect for the Raiders. Now, forget the 10 years and $100 million. We all know how that happens when you get canned. And we also know that money's coming in no matter what. That Vegas deal is ridiculously wealthy for the NFL, ridiculously wealthy for the city of Vegas, and Gruden's going to make a fortune off of everything you could think of in that town. So,
they'll be successful marketing-wise, without a doubt. Just look at the Vegas Golden Knights, the hockey team. Not only are they one of the best, if not the best team in the Western Conference, they're making a lot of noise out there in Vegas. They got a lot of fans, and I think it's going to be a great spot for the Raiders to go to. Guys, you're listening to Tailgater University. I'm Tyler Bradley. He's TC. We're out here live at Cove K Golf Course out in beautiful Clearwater, Florida. If you guys got time today, get out here. It's a little chilly, so dress appropriately, but get out to the driving range, play around. It's a very beautiful golf course, and it's just a beautiful day to be out here. So on the other side of the break, we'll be catching up with Greg LaFountain. We got some NFL playoffs that are taking off today, so he's going to break all the games down for us, and we'll see what to expect here out of the first round. Don't go anywhere. Tailgater University.
There's not like...
I could tell.
and then you turn my volume up, and I felt like I'm wheezing.
Well, I got a text from Jerome. It was like, Tom is extremely low. Please turn the gain up.
Gotcha. We're good.
So this is not good. We were just talking about it too.
How have you guys enjoyed working with the team?
The funny thing is, I got a text from the guy running the board back at the station. He goes, all right, because he told me to turn the gain up because Tom was a little low. I turned him up, and he goes, all right, turn it down. I can hear him breathing.
The best was him going like this.
Moving his mic down.
No reaction from him, just moving.
So
his mic.
funny.
That was hilarious.
Well, I pulled it away because I was trying to hold a cough for like 20 minutes. And then he pulls it down. I'm like, well, do we have anything else we want to put up right here that promotes our partners? We got Coastal over there, even though they haven't paid us a red cent yet.
But they will.
I'm cool. And well, same for them actually. Wow, it's actually getting nice.
So, how hard do they try to hit that golf cart out there when they're driving?
I work with the golf course over on front. This gives us over on
Yeah, you and I are
Yeah,
gonna.
so you did that?
I worked for a year and a half.
Nice job. But there are some moving parts there that concern me at the highest level.
Oh, I'm with you.
So there's gonna have to be a
But
contingency.
if that thing comes through, it gives us control. We're going to take care of this website, and we're going to take care of
I
that.
understood.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I gotta tell you one thing, all of this right now is flowing beautifully on the social media side.
Are we getting a lot of play off of it?
Well, I didn't look at the golf one because the golf one was only on our new page because I didn't have any other place to push it.
Right.
But I'll tune in and start seeing what we get with tailgaters. But I mean, even
But what about you guys?
oh, dude, our social media thing was just rolling. And what's nice is
enjoy their great
see, now
brewery.
here's what needs to happen.
This is the place where the sports experts live.
And he could be mingling with people.
We have the resources to keep you informed. Sports Talk 1040, the team. Pure Sports Talk.
Big Australia is back at Outback Steakhouse. Hurry in to indulge in our biggest sirloin ever. An 18-ounce center cut sirloin seasoned and seared to perfection. Enjoy it with one of our new boomerang beer flights to discover the perfect pairing for your Outback favorites. Outback Steakhouse, Aussie rules. While you're there, don't forget to pick up gift cards for everyone on your list. For a limited time, receive a $10 bonus card with every $50 gift card purchase. Give it or share it. Hurry to Outback Steakhouse in Tampa Bay.
And this guy, the golf guy,
You're live. Greg's on hold.
Welcome back, Tailgater University, right here on Sports Talk 1040 The Team. I'm Tyler Bradley, got TC with me, and we got NFL action today. The playoffs are in, and let's get it going, man. Who else would we rather have on than NFL writer for Sports Talk Florida, Greg LaFountain, breaking down today's playoff games. Greg, how you doing this morning, my man?
Well, I didn't win the Mega Millions, but I think I'll be okay.
Man, did you actually play it?
Yeah, I did, and I guess someone from Punta Gorda won, so it wasn't too far away from us here in Tampa, but it is what it is. We still got the Powerball tonight.
That's very true, and we got the Powerball tonight as well as some NFL playoff action. Got the Tennessee Titans taking on the Kansas City Chiefs and the Atlanta Falcons taking on the LA Rams. So let's get right down to it with the Tennessee Titans and the Kansas City Chiefs. You look at how Kansas City's been this year. They're the best team in terms of turnovers in the NFL, only committing 11 this year. How is that going to factor into their game against Tennessee, where you have someone like Marcus Mariota, who's thrown more interceptions than he has touchdowns this season?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big part. Mariota, like you said, he turns the ball over a lot, so it's not like the Chiefs are going to feel like they have to keep their offense on the field in order to win the game, where it might be, something that I might say later on with some other teams. But, yeah, that's a good point. Something that the Chiefs do, and Alex Smith gets a lot of hate because he's not very exciting to watch, and he's not one of those flashy quarterbacks, but he does what he has to do to win the game. Momentum is everything when going into the playoffs, and the Chiefs have been really hot as of late. It looked like they were out just maybe a month ago, and then they've won 4 straight going into the playoffs here. It's going to be interesting, too, how that home field at Arrowhead does for Kansas City. They're 6-2 at home, whereas Tennessee is 3-5 away. So I think that's going to be a big part in today's game. But, yeah, you're right. I think that turnovers, it's going to be an issue for Tennessee today.
Now, looking at Kansas City's offense, you got Kareem Hunt, who really broke out onto the scene as the season started, and Kansas City started with such a hot start. And then he kind of cooled off there, and it seems that Kansas City's offense has kind of gone as Kareem Hunt's gone. If he's playing well, their offense is moving well. If he's not, then, their offense isn't really playing up to par. And Alex Smith, I know you touched on him a bit. He does get a lot of hate, but, he's not one of those guys that you need to have putting up flashy numbers and big numbers, because quite frankly, the only stat that matters right now is W's. And when you're in the playoffs, Kansas City can pull this W away with Alex Smith being a game manager. But how do you see Kareem Hunt and the rushing attack working against Tennessee's defense?
Yeah, I think it's more. I think what they're going to ask Hunt is, just give us, a lot of carries. We don't need a lot of yards from you. Because if you look at it, Todd Gurley was the only running back to rush for over 100 yards versus the Titans this year. So they don't need Hunt to go off to win this game. That's not something they need. I think they need Alex Smith more than they need Hunt. They need Alex Smith to just manage the ball, hand the ball off, and do your little 5-yard slant. Put the ball in, your wide receiver's hands, and let Tyreek Hill just do a 5-yard slant, and then who knows what his yak will be after that. He could just take the ball and run. Look at what he did against Dallas on the last play of the first half. They put the ball into his hand, and then he just juked everyone out, has blockers, and he could find the end zone. So I think they're not gonna ask a lot of Alex Smith. He's a veteran. He's been here before. He has enough experience that they don't need him to just throw the ball, hey, everybody go along. That's not Alex Smith's game plan. I think that if they hand the ball off and they just keep the clock running and just, play their game, don't play Tennessee's game, play the Chiefs play that they played all year, and when they win, that's what they end up doing.
Absolutely. We're talking to Greg LaFountain, covers the NFL and mixed martial arts for Sports Talk Florida, talking about the Tennessee Titans and Kansas City Chiefs game today at 4:20. Marcus Mariota, a lot's been made of his game this season and last season for that matter. Passing-wise, he's been down. We touched on it a little earlier in the interview. He's got more interceptions than he does touchdowns. He's not really running the ball as much as many thought he would at this level, which, quite frankly, to me, that's not really a big deal because you don't really need your quarterback out there running around, getting lit up, especially with the type of runner that Mariota was and is. But how is he going to be able to succeed against this Kansas City defense?
I don't think he is. Yeah, I've never been as high on Mariota, even coming out of college and going into this year. There were a lot of people that said, "Look out for Mariota." I've never seen it. I'm not sure what I was looking at as opposed to what other people were looking at, but I didn't see it. And with his running game, he's been fighting injuries this year, so that might contribute to part of why he hasn't been taking off running. Which I agree with you. I don't want my quarterback out there running. I want him staying in the pocket and throwing the ball downfield. I don't want to risk any torn ACLs or any injuries or getting lit up by those. He's not even a big guy to begin with. I don't need to get lit up by those, linebackers or defensive ends. But there's a lot of pressure on him today. With Murray being out, DeMarco Murray being out, that's a huge hit to that offense. Mariota was throwing all those interceptions when he still had a reliable running back. Now he's got the backup in. Not saying that Derrick Henry, he's no slouch. He has done a decent job stepping in there for Murray when he's hurt. But I don't know if he has the stamina. I don't know if he has what it takes to play, as many snaps as they're going to need Henry to play today. He's used to coming in as more as a substitute guy and, kind of breaking through when maybe the defense is a little tired. Now, fresh defense, and it's going to be interesting to see how Henry plays and how he steps in because a lot's going to be after Mariota today. And if they fall behind early, then that running game's gone. And the game's going to be completely on Mariota's shoulders.
Greg, I'm right there with you. Derrick Henry is no DeMarco Murray. Now, he's no slouch, like you said, but he just is not the type of back and as good of a back as DeMarco Murray is, especially when Murray's fully healthy. Now, before we move on to the Atlanta and the Rams game, give us your prediction between Tennessee and Kansas City.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be a close game. I've got Kansas City winning 24-10.
All right, so there you hear it from Greg LaFountain, 24-10, Chiefs over the Titans. Now let's move it over to the NFC. The hottest offense in the league, the Los Angeles Rams with Jared Goff, Todd Gurley, and all the weapons that they've gotten going up against last year's NFC champion, the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta has been kind of on and off this year. They pull out with a 10-6 record going into the playoffs. But what is it going to take for the Rams to be able to get by the Falcons here in this wild card weekend?
Yeah, they just need to keep giving the ball to Gurley. They need to keep Matt Ryan. Although Matt Ryan has been very inconsistent. They haven't scored, especially as of late, they haven't scored 25 points. Falcons offense hasn't scored 25 points or more in the last 5 games. Julio Jones hasn't scored a touchdown since week 12. So they've been really cold as of late, and if you're coming in hot or coming in cold, you're probably not going to last too long in the playoffs. But it doesn't matter. You've still got Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. You've got those, 2 running backs, Coleman and Freeman. I don't want them on the field. I know that the Rams have a good defense. I still want to keep Matt Ryan, last year's MVP, off the field. So I'm going to be handing the ball off to Gurley, taking pressure off my second-year quarterback in Goff, and just try to control the clock. I think that time management is going to be huge in this game. They need to get ahead early, and they need to just keep running the ball and keeping that Atlanta offense off the field. That's what I'm looking at with this game.
Now, Atlanta's starting left tackle is going to be out this game, so how do you think that affects Atlanta's offensive line, and do you expect Aaron Donald and that Rams defensive line to have a big day and be able to get to Matt Ryan early and often?
Yeah, I do. I see them putting pressure on him very early and often. I want, they want to hit him in the mouth, and that's a good point. That blind side is just going to I feel bad for Matt Ryan today. I think that the Rams defense is going to get after him. One thing that, he's got to go through his reads, go through his progressions, which he's very good at doing. And if he sees that blitz is coming, just let the running backs take it and run right past the blitz guys that are going toward Matt Ryan. And Julio Jones has just got to step it up. He's a big X factor in today's game. And if he disappears, it's going to be a long day for Atlanta.
Now, Jared Goff had an iffy rookie year, comes out looking like an all-pro this year. What do you expect to see out of Jared Goff in this game?
I think he's going to be a little bit like what we're expecting Alex Smith to look like today. I think that they're just going to say, especially with this his first playoff game in Los Angeles, no less. It's been a very long time since Los Angeles has had a home playoff game. It's actually been since 1986. That's before their head coach, McVay, 20 days before he was even born. So It's been a very long time. The L.A. crowd is going to be ready. I've got friends out in L.A. They say they can't believe that this quick, everybody is just on that L.A. Rams bandwagon. Everybody's been supporting them since they took off hot early in the year. It's just, I think that that stadium's going to be rocking today. And one thing that is, like, people haven't really talked about, the Rams are 4-4 at home.
Hey, Greg, I got to cut you off real quick. We're up against a hard break.
20.
You mind sticking with us for a couple more minutes here on the other end of this break? Got a 2-minute break coming up. All right, Greg, you still there? All right, we'll see if we can get Greg back on the line, finish up the preview for the NFC game today. You're listening to Tailgater University right here on Sports Talk 1040 The Team.
A giant opportunity.
Hey, G, do you know if Greg's still on the line?
I didn't see it. Everyone has one. I didn't see it.
What day of the week?
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure he was still going to be on there and he was cool to come back for just a little bit.
I think
During the week, I'm all after.
Yeah, we're gonna. I'm probably just gonna give 2 or 3 questions more to Greg just about this Rams-Falcons game. When you hear me ask him, for his prediction, if you can just give Rock a call then, and I'll just fluff it until Rock's ready to go.
For sure. Honestly, I think that production.
Awesome, thanks, my friend.
On Monday or Tuesday.
Wednesday.
I wouldn't even go down to Tuesday. Tuesday would be a good day.
The challenge for us is you don't get out until 3:30. You're a critical part. He goes on the air at 3. He's ugly as hell, too.
3 to what?
We're having a conversation with you.
I'm trying to get stuff.
I know
His
you're
way
not.
back to the station.
We're talking about it. We're having a production meeting where everybody has to be there once a week. He gets out of work at 3:30. You go on the air at 3. So
3 to what, though?
6. And then he's been there. You've been there all day at that point. So I don't want to say to him, well, stay till 8. So we're gonna have to figure it out. But there's too many little inconsistencies. Nobody's seeing him beside Todd. That's okay. These are good things that we come around. You know, that we want to get better at. So
Sure.
let's get it done.
Start your day with a local sports show. Eric Casillas, weekday mornings from 7 to 9 on Sports Talk 1040. The Team.
Anthony Beck jumps aboard and joins me here on the Eric Casillas Show. You can create your own history apparently. UCF basically decides we're the national champs. That's it. We don't care.
It's the strength of the schedule, the reason why you've got them. I mean, if they were in a bigger conference and they were playing some of the teams here week to week, could they beat them consistently week to week? And that's the biggest question. We don't know. I mean, they went out there and did exactly what they were supposed to do. They beat the teams they were supposed to beat. They played a few ranked teams. You know, again, it's just basically comes down to the bulk of their schedule, playing those top tier teams and not knowing. Now they did it against Auburn, and everybody said, they beat Auburn, so all of a sudden they're the best. Well, you know, listen, if you prepare for a team for a month, you have a good chance to beat them because you have the skill, you have the speed, but could you do that week to week?
Eric Casillas, weekday mornings 7 to 9. Sports
Hey, Tyler, try
Talk
speaking
1040.
up.
The Team.
Greg, he's having.
Morning, guys.
Okay.
Hit him straight.
You're live.
Welcome back, Tailgater University, right here on 1040 The Team, NBC Sports Radio. I'm Tyler Bradley, got TC with me, and we still got Greg LaFountain on the line, covers the NFL for Sports Talk Florida, and he's previewing the playoff games we got going on today, and we were talking a bit about the Rams and the Falcons game, and Greg, that blind side for Atlanta's offensive line beat up, the left tackle not starting. You mentioned how the Rams are going to be putting a lot of pressure on Matt Ryan. Julio Jones hasn't caught a touchdown since week 12. What are the keys for this Atlanta offense to be able to try to score and keep up with the scoring that the Rams are so good at doing?
They need to be unpredictable. They can't just be predicted. Like, at the same time, don't be unpredictable like they were in the Super Bowl last year by not running the ball when you're up 28-3. But they don't always run the ball on first down. Keep giving that defense some different looks. Give that young coach some different looks. So he has to make these adjustments at halftime, and he's wondering, what the heck am I going to do? I think that's a big thing. Is they just need to be unpredictable. Don't go through the motions. Don't do almost what the Rams offense might be doing. Just run on first, run on second, pass on third, keeping the pressure off the quarterback. You've got a good quarterback. You've got a good receiving core. You've got good running backs. Execute them. Use your weapons that you have on offense.
We're talking to Greg LaFountain of Sports Talk Florida, covers the NFL. All right, Greg, give us your prediction. Got the Atlanta Falcons and the LA Rams. Who's moving on next weekend?
I think this is going to be, obviously I didn't pick a close game for the first one, but I think this is going to be the better game today. This one I'm real torn on, but I think that the Falcons go into Los Angeles and they upset them 21-19.
Wow, so there you have it. Greg LaFountain, he took the Chiefs and the Falcons for today. Greg, want to thank you so much for joining us today. Tell us, how can we follow you on social media and check out your content?
SportsTalkFlorida.com, a lot of MMA stuff, NFL stuff on there as well, and Greg_LaFountain on Twitter. And I just want to give a quick shout-out. I do work at ABC 7 down in Sarasota, and we will have Tyler Bradley on our show Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. I know that's out of Tampa and St. Pete's region. If you download the My Suncoast app, you could stream it live there as well. We're going to be talking about the Rays and what they're doing with that Longoria trade and how they expect to keep a team in Tampa and St. Petersburg when they're trading all their superstars. So Tyler Bradley will be on my show that night if you want to tune in for that.
Awesome. Greg, thank you so much, my man, and I'll be talking to you on Tuesday.
All right, sounds good. Have a good show.
Thank you, man. Have a good weekend. There he goes, Greg LaFountain, Sports Talk Florida. TC got two pretty darn good football games today. The playoffs are back, and we got Tennessee, Kansas City, Atlanta, and L.A., and I know we'll talk a lot more about it as the show goes on, and we know your AFC allegiance is to the New England Patriots, but who do you like in this Tennessee-Kansas City game?
I've got some alliance there in Tennessee and Nashville, as you know, having worked over there for a bit. I'm going to stick with I'm going to root for, let's put it this way, Mariota and the Titans today. I'm looking forward to that, and I'm really hoping the Rams pull it out.
You know, I'm with you. I'd like to see Mariota do well. I just think Kansas City is too much of a complete football team for the Titans to handle, especially with no DeMarco Murray. And, Greg touched on it. Derrick Henry is a great back, but he's nowhere near as good as DeMarco Murray. When Murray's fully healthy, he's one of the best in the league. I just think Kansas City's going to be too much for him, and Kansas City moves on. And then we got the Rams and the Falcons, and the Rams, man, and what more can you talk about with Jared Goff other than what an unbelievable turnaround from his rookie year to how he's playing this year? He's phenomenal. He looks like an all-pro. That offense is just unstoppable. Highest scoring team in the league. Number one offense. These guys are unbelievable. And then you talk about their defensive line with Aaron Donald and just how good their defense is. Atlanta, they have no left tackle today. Their starter's out. They're going to be putting a lot of pressure on Matt Ryan and that Falcons offense. And TC, I don't know that they're going to be able to hang with them scoring-wise. I think the Rams win this one.
I think it's two interesting, completely different games today. As vanilla as it gets, the first game, Titans, Chiefs, and then they're going to light it up in the Rams game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Now, guys, we talked about it before, and now it's time. We have Rock Riley with us, host of the Rock Riley Show from 3 to 6 right here on 1040 The Team. Rock, how you doing this Saturday, my man?
Doing great, man. A little bit nippy. How's my connection doing? You got me okay?
Oh, yeah, got you great, loud and clear, and we're out here at Cove K, freezing a little bit, but other than that, if we were out here on the golf course, I don't know that we would be as cold if we were swinging the clubs around because Lord knows I'd be chasing the ball all over the place, so I'd get plenty of workout in if my knee was fully healthy, but that's another story for another day. Now, Rock, let's get right into it. We got John Gruden expected to be announced the head coach of the Oakland Raiders, soon to be Vegas Raiders, coming up on Tuesday in a press conference. 10 years, $100 million. What was your initial reaction when you saw the money involved in this deal and the length of this deal?
Yeah, I was blown away. Now, this has been done before. Of course, not $100 million. But when I think it was Mike Ditka tried to make a comeback after he was out and he was with the Saints, he got a 10-year deal. I think Jimmy Johnson at one time got a 10-year deal. So I don't know if Ditka had a really bad coming back, but I know Ditka got Jimmy Johnson got a 10-year deal, and there was another coach one time that did get a 10-year deal. I would be shocked if he ends up finishing out their contract. But $100 million, and then you got to pay off all of his assistants, and they're getting the richest assistant coaches' contracts, and then You still got to pay the coach that was just fired, Jack Del Rio. And of all the ownership groups, believe it or not, the Oakland Raiders, Mark Davis, has the least amount of money. I think he's worth $500 million. He's not a billionaire. So it was shocking the amount, but it was not shocking to me that Gruden was going back to Oakland.
Now, Rock, what do you see? Is John Gruden really worth $100 million? What has he done in his career? Now, he did win a Super Bowl with the Bucs. You know, he took over that really loaded team that had that great defense, and he finally put that offensive mind to use and got him over the hill and got him into the Super Bowl, got the win. But other than that one Super Bowl win, what has he really done to deserve $100 million?
No, you're right. You're right. If you look at his record, I mean, 500. He had more success with Oakland than he did. Hey, believe it or not, because we all remember the Super Bowl win. But Mark Davis, his dad, the late Al Davis, loved John Gruden. And he always told his son, man, I love John Gruden. And, you know, we talked about it on our show during the weekday, but I don't think people remember. The Glazers really wanted to get Gruden. And Gruden was coming off a great season in Oakland. The Raiders weren't looking to get rid of him. And so in the middle of the night, the Glazers talked to Al Davis and said, we'll give you 2 number 1s, 2 number 2s, draft picks, and $8 million on top of that. Everybody forgets about that. So, you know, the Davis family's like, oh, my God, we can't turn that down. 2 number 1s, 2 number 2s, $8 million. We'll let Chucky go. But when Al Davis, before he passed away, told his son, like, John Gruden is the man, and besides, they're going into Vegas. They got to sell expensive suites, sponsorships. And because he's a man on Monday Night Football, and he's the man on ESPN, and, you know, everybody likes that deal, that's why. It's somewhat of a business decision as well, Tyler.
Now we're talking to Rock Riley, host of the Rock Riley Show from 3 to 6, Monday through Friday, right here on Sports Talk 1040 The Team. Rock, John Gruden, do you see him being successful out there in Oakland? And then when they move to Vegas, he's got the young pieces around him. He's got the Derek Carr at quarterback. He's got Amari Cooper at receiver, Khalil Mack on defense. They had a down year. Carr was beat up, but he's got the pieces. Can he and will he be successful?
Well, we had Anthony Beck on yesterday, the former Buccaneer. He actually played under Gruden. And he said something very interesting, that these young players have no idea what they're doing because Gruden is a workaholic. Most coaches are, but he's another level. He doesn't get much sleep, and he will put these guys through the test. But Anthony also told us he was the most prepared come Sunday's game time than he was at any other organization. Gruden will have this team prepared. And maybe Gruden will have learned something a little bit as far as relationships with the players. A lot of times, man, you are who you are. You're really not going to be a different person. But maybe he's learned with his time now on Monday Night Football and these other teams and going and seeing how they run their offenses. So he's a football mind. He's a workaholic. He is so fired up. He comes in with a lot of passion. He's got Derek Carr, who's a good young quarterback. I'm betting that he's going to be successful, man. I really am.
Now, not to really argue on what Becht was saying, but he said he was more prepared than under any other coach. Well, maybe it was him or maybe the whole team, because I feel like if they were all that prepared for every single game, Gruden wouldn't have the mediocre record that he has.
You can make an argument. You can make an argument for that. But if you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they were in a bad situation with the salary cap under the GM at the time, Rich McKay. They went all in to give Sapp and Brooks and Lynch and those guys the big money. How would you not? So they went all in on that Super Bowl year, and then after that, they were hamstrung with the salary cap. So that's why. And he got a couple of guys off the scrap heap, and that's a whole other story on having somebody over him to make decisions with personnel. But you could make that argument. You could make that argument. He had them prepared, but yet they weren't that successful. They never had a playoff win. The Bucs haven't. I think what it is, Tyler, is Buccaneer fans are so beat down by so much losing. It hasn't worked out with Raheem. It hasn't worked out with Drake Sheehan. It hasn't worked out with Lovey. Never had a bad year. And so fans see that, and they see Gruden. And again, everything we're seeing from highlights, it's Gruden raising that Lombardi trophy. They won the Super Bowl. That's what everybody's remembering, Tyler.
Oh, without a doubt. Now, Rock, let's switch it from the NFL over to college football. One of the hottest topics in radio and in the media and in everything this week, UCF crowning themselves national champions. Agree or disagree?
I don't mind them crowning themselves national champions because why not? They went undefeated, and why not bring some more publicity to UCF in Orlando? However, it's getting to the point now where it's almost a little too much. Have your parade at Disney tomorrow. Get your keys to the city on Monday. Have the big pep rally in downtown Orlando. And then after that, that's enough. I mean, George Diaz, who I really respect, he writes for the Orlando Sentinel, senior sports columnist. He's in Orlando. The Orlando Sentinel's coming out with a book, Perfect Nights. And even he said, it's been great, it's an unbelievable ride, but now it's enough. Too much of a good thing is never a good thing.
Now, you look at UCF and you look at how they played against Auburn. And getting away from the national champion talk here for just a second, Shaquem Griffin, he's only got one hand, was born with a very unfortunate birth defect, and he just played out of his mind against Auburn and the entire season. He's garnered national attention. His brother's already in the NFL, local product here out of Lakewood High School. Do you see Shaquem Griffin being able to make it at the next level, even though he is at a disadvantage with only one hand?
You know what, man? If you can play, you'll be on a team. That's how it goes. If you're good enough, there will be an NFL team that will put him on a roster. From what I understand, he has not been invited to the NFL Combine. He is not going to get drafted. I'm hoping that he's an undrafted free agent. Somebody gives him a shot. Because everybody has bet against him. Nobody thought he'd be able to do what he could do. And I really like how he did it against Auburn, a powerful SEC team in a big stage. He was the defensive MVP. So he's not going to go to the Combine. He's not going to get drafted. I hope somebody gives him a shot. I really do. What a story.
Oh, without a doubt. And just what a story in general for this UCF program. And just, 0-12 a couple years ago to 13-0, and arguably you can argue that they were screwed out of the college football playoff. I personally think they were screwed out of the playoff, but that also leads to another debate. Do you expand the playoff or do you leave it at 4? What are your thoughts on a possible expansion of the college football playoff?
Well, I think down the road it will be expanded because the NCAA can make more money. Cha-ching, cha-ching. That's what it's going to come down to. But I actually, the way it is right now, and I know we're speaking up and down the I-4 corridor, and we have UCF fans that are listening, but I actually like it like 4. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You're always going to have debate. Once it gets to 8, you're still going to have debate. For those teams that finish 9th and 10th, you go to 16, the team that was 17 and 18 is going to put up a stink. You're never going to please everybody. For me, I like it now, but I think down the road it will go to 8 teams.
Now, Rock, with only 4 teams being in the playoff right now, you know, there's always going to be that discussion of did someone get screwed out? Well, how are one of these lower conference teams, and I don't mean that with any disrespect by calling them a lower conference. We know the terms Power 5 and Group of 5 conferences are not NCAA affiliated terms. Those are terms made up by fans and the media to distinguish the difference in talent of what they think are the better conferences as opposed to the lower conferences. But with only 4 teams, not every year is a team going to be as special and have as special of a season as UCF had. Now, when we see this happening, a team like that needs to deserve a chance. And with a 4-team playoff, how are they ever going to get a team like that in?
They won't, Tyler. And you even pulled something up this week on if we went back in history, there's been plenty of times that teams that have claimed national championships that didn't win a national championship. You won't, though. You won't. And that's why USF and UCF were making that push to get into the Big 12, a Power 5. As long as they're on the AAC, they'll never get in when it's 4. Like I said, Tyler, I know you can't please everybody. So it's staying at 4 for now, and maybe next year there's another Cinderella story like a UCF, and they won't have the chance to get in. I know it's not fair, but you know what, Tyler? Life isn't fair all the time, buddy.
Ain't that the truth, Rock? Now, last question before we let you go. Scott Frost off to Nebraska. Josh Heupel coming into UCF. Do you see UCF having as good of a year next year as they did this year, or do you see a bit of a drop-off?
I'm wondering. Now, it all comes down to recruiting. You know that. That's the lifeblood. Can you sell the kids to come to UCF? And we got a hotbed in Florida. This is there, and you're now competing against Lane Kiffin. Now you got Willie Taggart at FSU. You got Mullen at Florida. You got Rick at Miami. You got Charlie Strong, USF. You know what Heupel's up against? So he did have a good offense with Missouri. That's the good thing. Kids want to see the offense. They want to score. It's going to be tough. And he's going to follow a perfect season. That's not going to happen every year. So it's going to be hard. I'll flat out admit to you. I think it's going to be hard. Everybody loves Scott Frost. Somebody was telling me yesterday that a bunch of the all-stars in college were practicing, and they were kind of laughing now and kind of mocking out. These are kids from all around the country about UCF going so far with this whole national championship thing. So, you know what I mean? I don't know if they're going to see, is this kind of a gimmick type thing? It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard following an undefeated season, man.
Oh, without a doubt. Rock, want to thank you so much for joining us here Saturday morning. You're a big asset to the show. Love having you on. Always full of great insight. And I can't wait to talk to you again on Monday. Remember, you can catch the Rock Riley Show 3 to 6 Monday through Friday right here on this very station. Rock, enjoy your weekend, my friend, and enjoy some playoff football.
Yeah, I'm going to get my tailgate going right now, buddy.
Oh, love to hear it. Love to hear it. So thanks again, Rock, and we'll talk to you Monday. Rock Riley, host of the Rock Riley Show, 3 to 6 on these very stations you are listening to. I'm Tyler Bradley, got TC with me, and on the other side of the break, we'll wrap up this hour before we attack this action-packed second hour, so you don't want to go anywhere. Tailgater University.
No, I get it. We were just talking exactly what you're saying right now. We were just talking about it.
But let's open our minds even more. One of the big concerns, it's not a concern, it's an excitement, is he and I might be in one location. And you two, we might decide if it's the best to go to the next location. He's got to learn what you do. So there were a couple times where I went to type in, and he gave me the look of death, because for some reason it was giving feedback.
Well, that people can see you doing it too because you're live on the
camera.
Yeah,
if your phone's on,
you shouldn't be the one doing
turn your thing to silent. You won't. You still hear the clicking?
The volume still came out of his phone.
The interaction that needs to happen between whether it's him or another intern is they're watching the comments. If somebody asks a question that's pertinent or important, he texts you and says, "Hey, such and such on Facebook," and then you can bring it up on the show.
Got it.
This is where it's going to integrate, because the people who are in their cars and not, you know, somebody on Facebook may come up with a cool question, and you go, hey, you know, one of our Facebook viewers who's watching on Facebook
And there
right
was
just
one.
came up.
That's what I was trying to.
Yeah, and then you can bring that into the radio show.
Well, all this will get tightened up. Over the next few weeks, we're gonna have this well-oiled machine. It'll be
And then when you
all-
have your plumber crack hanging out, and somebody's commenting.
Hey, just so you know, he made that happen. So
Oh,
no bonus for you.
I stood up and I went.
Hey, come here.
Listen, we had several shows that we had to get under our belt before we got it down to where it all kind of worked together. In every show, you're going to have technical difficulties. As long as your viewers don't see it, you're fine.
Well, the show's down. He's doing a great job. I mean, it's just these other little moving parts. You can't, you know, there's no sense to having all these people here if we're not having an important role in what's going on. One break.
Commercial. He turns that off. That every time the commercials come on, our internet stuff turns that off.
There's some guy over there flipping off the starter. What's going on?
I don't know how long is the commercial break.
Not sure. They just tell us when we're
2 to
coming
3
back.
minutes. Oh. It's actually beautiful out now.
It's gorgeous now.
Are you still cold?
Well, I'm on blood
His
thinners
pinky
too.
toe
yeah.
is purple and looks like it's about to fall off.
You have to remember, you indignant bitch.
But that is a Barney Rubble pinky toe now that we're talking about it. Look at that.
Yeah, it is. Doesn't
Looks
even
like
touch the
Fred
ground.
put it out at the middle of the night and it
I'm
stayed
concerned
out.
about this. He's talking about your toes and my ass.
What kind of crap is he
Who is
into?
this? What you would call it?
Oh, you lost it.
Footsie guy. Coach. Feet. Oh my God! Why am I drawing a blank? Now on ESPN. Sucks. Belichick beat his ass every year.
Herm? No, because he's at Arizona State.
No, white guy went on the diet. Oh my God!
He went on
Hey, they
Facebook
went to
Live to
Coach.
figure it out.
Herm Edwards?
No, after Herm. Then went to Buffalo.
Oh,
and got
you're
it.
talking. Oh gosh.
Ryan.
Rex
Ryan.
Rex Ryan. He's the one who likes ass and feet.
Okay.
So
Together? I mean, like.
no, I'm concerned that
Concerned that you might.
this is the wrong kind of ass and feet.
I got questions, man. I want to talk to this guy.
Yeah, I don't want questions from you.
Now this is behind the scenes.
I can only imagine what you talk about out on the boat.
I have to imagine it too because I don't get to go out on the boat.
Oh, that ends this week. This is the longest break ever.
Nope, we're back right now. Welcome back, Tailgater University, right here on 1040 The Team. I'm Tyler Bradley, got TC with me. If you guys want to get in on the program, our next guest isn't until 11:30, so we got plenty of time to open up these phone lines. 877-355-1040, 877-355-1040. Had great conversations with Greg LaFountain and Rock Riley talking college football, NFL, got the playoffs coming on today. Started off the show talking a bit about John Gruden and his new coaching deal, which, quite frankly, TC, I don't see it, man. $100 million.
There's nothing about this guy that screams to me, he's the man. 10 years, $100 million. He's going to bring you a Super Bowl. Well, look, I'm a firm believer that defense of Tampa Bay, which was one of the greatest ever to take the field, he walked right into. Tony Dungy and Monty Kiffin built that up. Now, Dungy didn't have the offensive mind that he needed in order to get to that next level. He could get him to the playoffs, could never win much in the playoffs. And then John Gruden comes in, who's more of an offensive mind, really lucked out having that defense, led him right to the Super Bowl. And then after that, Gruden just on year, off year, never really did much. The Bucs haven't won a playoff game since that Super Bowl win back in 2002. So what is it to you about John Gruden that says 10 years, $100 million, he's our guy?
I think Rock is spot on this deal. I really do. You're looking at it from a quarterback standpoint. You're looking at it just as a coach on the field. This job is far more than that. This is coach on the field, managing that team in Las Vegas. Think about that for a minute.
In Las Vegas, that's going to be no joke. I mean, I know we touched on it earlier as well. The Golden Knights, the hockey team out there, they've already brought in a lot of revenue. They're getting the fans going out there, and people in Vegas are loving it. And the Raiders could have the same effect. And you know how much America loves their football, so I would see that being the same effect. You know, Gruden's going to be that face that they really want of that team, and it's going to bring in the dollar signs. But my question, is it gonna bring in wins?
I think it is. And here's what you got to think about. Every team that comes into that town,
1 minute.
Guess what they're going? I'm in Vegas. Let me just go out and play a couple hands. Or let me just stop at this club. Or let me just do this. The home team's used to it by now. Big difference. Big difference. I think the challenge is, who is the coach who can put it all together? Coach the team, coach the situation, manage the city. That whole process is a big deal.
Yeah. All right. We can talk much more about it here on the other side of the break. You're listening to Tailgater University. Guys, get in on the program. Got about a half hour until we're joined by David Blanco, and going to talk a little cigars, a little tailgating with him. 877-355-1040, 877-355-1040. I'm Tyler Bradley. He's TC. This is Tailgater University.
I'm like,
as soon as I see it, I try to jump in.
Did they mention anything about your game on you?
Not on me, no.
Because when he talks, just going through the main board, he sounds perfect. You are slam peaking for some reason. I don't know. It's just I don't know if they're having an issue over there, but it's just weird.
On the radio, it sounded just right.
Yeah.
But I'm fighting this cold. I'm like Darth Vader on here. I'm going to apologize to everybody. Sorry for sounding like Darth Vader all day. Are you leaving us, ladies?
Yeah, but we left you a table.
Nice. And you left my bag.
You left your bag. Put your bag for you.
Do you guys do stuff like this outside of Leaf? I know you know.
What do you mean?
Take
Event stuff.
to make them and give your kid a week. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.net.
We're going to see you all the time. I'm assuming we'll see you guys next weekend.
Yeah, just let us know.
Next weekend's crazy.
Oh, the marathon, yeah, of course. We bought some bags and ordered for that.
No. You guys should share this feed on Facebook, whatever, personal. So far, it's the one that yours has been shared most fun. If we all share it, I would say if you have time to do it, I'll share it.
Can I do something else with you guys? Does it mean I get a sweater?
You want a sweatshirt? What size are you?
Small. I think we might have a deal.
Done. All right, guys. So nice to talk to you again.
Thank you.
Thanks for all the help.
We'll talk to you soon. We'll see you next
See
week.
you next weekend.
Bye.
Next week there will be some fun involved.
I'm excited. I'm ready. I can't wait to see the bags we ordered.
There's a bonfire Saturday night on the beach. It's the only bonfire allowed the whole year.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
That sounds like my kind of thing.
We're
You
gonna have
tend to
fun.
like bonfires on the beach.
Yeah, it's like 10 to only like bonfire. Outside of this. All right, guys, be safe getting
You
home.
know what would be really awesome for a bonfire on the beach? One of those sweaters.
Is that what you think? Not a sweatshirt, but a sweater coming from my Canadian friend.
Bye.
Bye.
Running back Todd Gurley is hoping to win the MVP, but more importantly, he wants to help beat the Falcons.
The playoffs is going to be, different atmosphere. At the end of the day, it's just another game.
You need to get a tech team up there. That place is going to have firewall issues.
Well, they have issues here. They're
That type of attitude when it go wrong. But for the most part, it's definitely just another game. But it's a big one for sure.
Don't forget, you can hear all 4 NFL wildcard games live on Westwood One. There is one day game in the NBA with the Warriors in LA to take on the Clippers. Tonight, Boston is at Brooklyn. In college hoops, number 5 Xavier gets an early noon Eastern start at Providence. And tonight, number 2 Duke is on the road at NC State.
But you're right, you have to. And that's not my audience.
This is
You know,
NBC Sports Radio.
it's his audience. He's got to build an audience. And the audience.
It's time for the ultimate tailgate experience. Where the drinks are always cold and the menu is always on point.
We got food, we got booze.
Scott Wall on hold. Now settle in next to the cooler and grill. Let's talk some sports. Welcome to Tailgater University. We also have Terry and Seminole. And you're live.
Tailgater University right here, Sports Talk 1040 The Team. I'm Tyler Bradley, got TC with me as always. We're going to open up these phone lines, had an action-packed first hour, looking for an even better second hour here, and been talking a lot of John Gruden, a lot of college football, UCF, got the NFL playoffs coming up, and we open up the phone lines now, 877-355-1040, 877-355-1040. Let's start off with Terry in Seminole. Terry, how you doing today?
Good. Enjoy your show, but I think you're overlooking a lot of history when it comes to John Gruden. Before Gruden came to Tampa, he was a very successful coach with the Oakland Raiders. They perennially contend for the playoffs. Secondly, he had them in the AFC Championship game where they were actually beating the Patriots until they came up with that crazy tough rule. So
Ouch,
when
Terry.
Gruden was here, as Rock Riley was saying, he was handicapped by the salary cap. The ownership was in salary cap hell, and he was just basically taking players off the scrap heap, and even then they were still competitive. I mean, they played the playoffs twice with basically guys that Gruden just found and just revived their career, like Thomas Jones. So, I mean, if you're talking about John Gruden, I don't see how you can say that, he doesn't have the track record to be successful wherever he goes. He's clearly always has been one of the very good coaches in the National Football League.
All right, Terry, thank you for the call. Appreciate it. I have to disagree with you, though. It comes down to wins and losses. You look at his win and loss record with Tampa Bay. Whether he was handicapped or not by the salary cap, he was not able to win. And everyone talks about him being able to produce all these quarterbacks and being a quarterback whisperer and a quarterback guru. I don't see it. And we're going to see how it plays out in Oakland. I don't know that I agree with the amount of money that he's getting. Great that he wanted to get back into coaching. Great. You know what? He got a head coaching job with the Oakland Raiders. Good for him. I don't know that he's worth $100 million, though. TC, what do you think?
Terry, I'm right with you on this, buddy. I like his history. I like where he comes from. I like what he's done in the media. It exposed him to all these teams and thought processes. I think it's a good move. I'm not talking about the money anymore. It's not my money. Raiders want to pay him $100 million, $500 million. I don't care. Terry, let's you and I get back together about this time next year, and we'll look across at my man here, and we'll say, Gruden did it this year.
No, that will not be what the conversation is.
Oh,
but
yes, it will. Yes, it will. Yes, it will.
No, let's keep the phone lines going, though. We got Walt and Ruskin on hold. Walt, how you doing this morning?
Good morning, gentlemen. Tyler, TC, Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
Had a great Christmas season and great first of the year.
What's up, Walt?
I wanted to chime in. I agree with Terry. I've been saying this all along. Gruden has been a successful coach, and he should not be discounted. Now, the money being thrown around, I mean, everybody shakes their head at that. But even in college football, where they come up with the money for the coaches, is just incredible. But John has been successful everywhere he went. They lost 2 number 1s, 2 number 2s when the Glazers traded for John.
Now, what does that have to do with on-field success?
That McKay put him into, he did a heck of a job. That was probably the best coaching job that I have seen.
A 57-55 record overall, though?
Defense in place. But if you go back and you look at the offense under under Dungy, they were pathetic. They were horrible. John turned that around. That was John's team that won the Super Bowl. And I just wanted to chime in on that because he is a good coach. Is he worth $100 million? Who's worth $100 million in any profession?
Bill Belichick?
But good for him. He's ringing the cash register.
All right, Walt, thanks for the call. I got to disagree with you too, Walt. I mean, his record with the Bucs, 57-55, that's not a huge winner on the field to me. Did he get back to the playoffs after the Super Bowl year? Yes, but they didn't win a playoff game. There's a big difference between just making the playoffs and being able to win in the playoffs. And I don't know that Gruden's going to be the right guy. I just don't see it. And TC, we've talked quite a bit about it today. Whether he was handicapped or not with the salary cap, his ability that everyone kind of puts over him that he's able to develop quarterbacks. He's this quarterback whisperer. I ask you, who did he really develop?
We've already done this. I really think what it comes down to for you, and you're passionate about this morning, and I love it. I absolutely love it. You are a quarterback. You're looking at this thing as Gruden's quarterback camp, Gruden the quarterback whisperer. I don't care about any of those things. I think he's a team manager, and I think that's going to be huge in Vegas. I think he's going to have good situations in terms of the players, salary cap, et cetera, et cetera. This is a winning situation for Gruden. He's going to come out a winner. I look at next season 10-6, 11-5.
Oh, I can't wait until next season so we can talk about how bad the Raiders' record is. But let's switch it back over to college football. UCF. You know, they got their parade in the Magic Kingdom tomorrow. They got another parade on Monday and getting the keys to the city. And just everything is good in Orlando if you're the UCF Knights. You finished the season 13-0, and they claim to be national champs. But can you really blame them? They took down Auburn, who took down Georgia and Bama, the two teams playing for the national title on Monday, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. And you can't tell me Auburn had nothing to play for. They were still in a New Year's Six Bowl, and anyone that's a competitor, you know you're not going out on that field and not giving it 100%, especially when you look at the numbers, and I believe it's like 0.01% of all college athletes make it at the professional level. So you're going to tell me that somebody on Auburn's team who has a man sitting next to them who could be playing his last game in any kind of organized football whatsoever, they're not going to go out there and give everything they got for that teammate and that brother of theirs? I don't buy it. UCF was the better team. They had enough speed to hang with anyone in this country on the football field. Mackenzie Milton did a hell of a job running that offense. Now, a lot of it does go to Scott Frost. He's been an offensive mastermind his whole career, and you can take it all the way back to his playing days when he won a national championship in 1997 with the University of Nebraska. You know, he coached under Chip Kelly out at Oregon, and he put together a great offense there. He worked with Marcus Mariota, made him one of the greatest college quarterbacks we've seen in this generation, and a Heisman Trophy winner. He goes to UCF, turns a program around from 0-12 to 13-0 in 2 years. I mean, the things that man has done at UCF is phenomenal. He deserves every dollar he's getting from the University in Nebraska, and I don't have an issue with it. You know, they got screwed not getting into the playoff. People say, well, who do you take out? I take out Alabama. They didn't win their conference. UCF at least won their conference. Oh, but they're in the group of five, not the Power Five. Well, those are terms that we as fans and media made up to try and distinguish what we think are the separate abilities in these conferences. And, you know, with the way the Pac-12 was this year, who's to say UCF wouldn't have run the table if they were in the Pac-12? Now, granted, if it was the ACC or the SEC, sure, it might be a little bit harder. It would be a little bit harder. But there's a quote-unquote Power 5 conference right there in the Pac-12 that UCF could have gone in, and I think they could have run the table there. And we're never going to know until one of these teams gets a chance. You know, it's not every year that you get a lower-tier school like UCF that has such a special season, but we're never going to know until one of these special years when one of these teams gets a shot. Look at the 2007 Boise State team in the Fiesta Bowl against Oklahoma. You know, it took a couple of trick plays. It took the Statue of Liberty. It took the hook and ladder. But they took down big, bad Oklahoma that season. And there was little old Boise State out there in Boise, Idaho on the Smurf turf. And it just, you know, it really gets me worked up because UCF deserves everything that they're putting on their plate. They deserve to be recognized. A great season without a doubt. And I don't have any issue whatsoever with them calling themselves national champs. What do you think, TC?
I think you're fired up this morning, dude, and I'm loving it. This is awesome. I noticed how quickly he changed the subject when we were getting on him about Gruden, and now he's on UCF. Fired up. Here's what I think. I think that there's a certain part of the polls that earns respect. It takes time. And that UCF program, let's face it, they came out of nowhere. What was their record the year before, buddy?
UCF, 0-12, then they went to 6-6, and now 13-0.
That happened fast. And I think that there was a lot of digestion that needed to happen. They were really looking at Frost. Is this guy the real deal? Obviously he was. They were looking at that team. Is this the real deal? Because there were some Saturdays, let's face it, where you were going, I don't know yet. Maybe they're not quite there. But what they did to Auburn, I mean, you can't say enough. And having both of us played and know what that last game feels like, I couldn't agree with you more. You're like, this is it. This is my last chance. This is my last chance to rack somebody. I get it. I'm playing hard to the last second.
No, and that's been one of the biggest gripes that I've been hearing all week is that, Auburn had nothing to play for. They thought they were going to be in the playoff. Again, like you just said, TC, not buying it because these guys are out there. They're competitors. They're ready to fight, and they're ready to play football. And for many of them, it's the last game possible. And real quick, we got a Facebook comment from Jeremy Gluding. Is UCF's quarterback transferring? No, there were a lot of rumors that if Scott Frost left, he may look to transfer. But as of right now, there is nothing out there that Mackenzie Milton is going to transfer. UCF's offense should stay intact for the most part, and they should be having a big year next year, so looking forward to that. But, guys, you're listening to Tailgater University right here on Sports Talk 1040 The Team. TC's next to me. I'm Tyler Bradley. After the break, we'll get David Blanco on here. We'll get a little cigar talk, a little tailgating talk here on this it's a little chilly out here on this Saturday here.
I'm loving this. I want to be out there on the golf course right now. Yeah. If you weren't one-wheeled right now, we'd be sneaking out the side door. I've been staring at the range all day. I want to be out there.
All right. Well, guys, don't go anywhere. On the other side of the break, David Blanco. This is Tailgater University on Sports Talk Florida, NBC Sports Radio, 1040 The Team.
There's not
You are all worked up.
I told you, get me going on one of those topics, brother.
Well, what are the Raiders' records this year?
Hey, what's up, kid?
I think they were 4-12.
Since you're on a break.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Good to hear you.
What's going on, man?
You guys are sounding good. I was listening to you on the way over.
Thank you.
Enough fighting. It's cold. Like,
sorry to hear that, man. Hey, real quick before we go on, and I know we got a few minutes, but I'm not on the next thing.
I was thinking we could get you on next segment.
Okay, well, we got to talk particulars about East West.
I want to remind you guys that these mics for the internet are still on right now. If you're discussing business, you never.
Oh, yeah, just East West. We want to make sure that we get all the particulars out. And so do you want to rediscuss that?
Yeah, that's one of our, that's the reason. Perfect. But we've already met with Rod.
Right, yeah, I know that's all squared away, but when I talk about his event, what your event is on the 20th?
100%.
Okay. As long as you got it down, just bounce it off, just.
Well, that's what I was bringing it for when you were here.
Then just, I guess you'll be a good lawyer and lead the witness.
You'll walk your right to it.
Just get a cup and go over there.
So for all you on the internet still listening,
cut through the.
Good to hear you. Good to see you. Or not see you. I got a face for radio.
And now you have a Facebook Live.
There you go. Oh, we're on Facebook Live?
Yes, sir.
Which one? This one or this one? Probably that one. What's up, guys? Stay smoking. I do a ton of Facebook stuff, so it's my bread and butter as far as how I usually market and advertise. Connect with my consumers.
Keeps breaking my cameras when I put it on.
Bro, we got rated #1 and #2 cigar of the year.
I've already bragged about that today.
Bam. Nice. As voted by consumers, which is more important to me than most of the other lists because it's usually the editors or the inside guys, So this is by consumers. I'm really proud of you.
I would be too. Let's say the brag.
#1 and 2.
Yeah.
You know how hard that is?
You know what we do?
Impossible. I have never seen it before.
You get up and run.
By anything. By any list.
Okay. All right, so you're going to come on for this segment.
Okay.
We're going to talk about, I'm going to control the situation, but we're going to talk about next weekend's event. Okay. And then we're going to talk about the Shriners events. You chime in wherever you feel appropriate. We're going to pump up Shriners. We're going to pump up cigars. And we're going to let everybody know about the half marathon in St. Pete Beach.
Actually, this is beautiful out in the sun. You guys got it.
Oh, you came at the right time. It was cold this morning.
We got to start too early.
You should have been up there when we were doing our fishing show.
Yeah. Forget the fishing show. Like 6:30 this morning.
6:30.
How about let's talk about 5 o'clock this morning when I was rolling the power cord up because I had things charging in here before I hauled the trailer down here.
Wrong answer.
That's okay. I got to the front gate because I didn't realize there was a back entrance, and this guy looks at me and goes, "You can't come through here." And I'm going, "Well, that's good because I was concerned about that height over there."
Craziness, but I'm surprised to see how many guys are just golfing out here.
Oh, you missed it early. This entire green was packed. They had people waiting to get on the first tee. I guarantee there's 50, 60 golfers out here.
Canadians or foreigners. People laughing at me.
Come over here.
Welcome back, Tailgater University, right here, Sports Talk 1040, The Team. I'm Tyler Bradley, got TC with me, and we're glad to have on now
David Blanco joining us again, friend and very familiar name and face of the show. So, TC, Dave, take it away.
What's up, brothers? What's up? Happy
going on,
New
man?
Year.
Happy
Happy
New
New
Year
Year to
to you.
everybody out there. It's a pleasure to be here again.
I think we're going to bring Trey in here for a few minutes, too. Trey, why don't you just jump on in here?
T-Ray, sporting. What is he sporting over? He's with Dallas Cowboys. What?
It was on clearance.
First, everybody, let me just apologize for my breathing skills today. I'm fighting a bit of a cold and a little bit of a bug here. We're getting through it, though. Enjoying talking to everybody.
He didn't tell me that until after I shook his hand, by the way. I want to thank you very much for that.
I got to share the love. Got to share the love. So we've got some exciting stuff coming up, and I really wanted to bring David in for it because he's a big part of some of the things that are coming up in the next few weeks. First, next weekend. Next weekend's a great weekend at St. Pete Beach. For all my running friends out there, we are doing a half marathon down the beach. It's put on by the mayor, Al Johnson, and his group. They've been doing it for 14 years.
Wow.
It's a wonderful, wonderful event. It starts and ends at the Serrata Hotel at the beach. We're proud to be out there broadcasting it, supporting the event. It's going to be a great event. Following right into that, the following week, the Shriner Bowl is here. And the East-West Shrine game is just a fantastic opportunity to see some amazing college players. It's my favorite bowl, as a matter of fact, because it's a lot of guys that you're going to end up seeing in the NFL that haven't got the attention or the noise surrounding this top, 50 guys. It's a lot of fun. All the coaches from all the teams across the NFL will be here in town taking a close look at these players. And then, of course, it benefits the Shriners Hospital. So that's a great thing. Well, the guy to my right, David Blanco, and his partner have created a Shriners cigar. David, tell me a little bit about that cigar.
Sure. Well, the brand is Hireman Solomon, which I'm affiliated with as their master blender. And this brand is Masonic-centric. Let's put it that way. Masonic organization, as far as the brand name is concerned. It references Hireman Solomon, the two major figures in the Masonic fraternity. So anything Masonic-oriented with regard to philanthropic events and things of that nature, of course, they always take part. The particular cigar we're talking about, the Shriner cigar, most people, I don't know, some people may not even know, Shriners are associated with Masons. You have to be a Mason first to be a Shriner.
Yeah, no, you brought me up to speed on that. I did
and
not know that.
A lot of people don't know that. So if you talk about Shriners at all or ever, you're talking about an arm or an appendage of a Masonic organization. So we made this cigar, and not only for cigar aficionados to enjoy a fine cigar, but also for I apologize there. I should probably turn that phone down there. But also to benefit the hospital as well. A portion of the proceeds goes back to the Shriners.
For those not looking on Facebook Live, I think David just chucked his phone across the golf course.
I didn't, but I was gonna. I was
it
thinking
sure
about
did
it.
look it.
Yeah, I was about to lean down and throw it into the fairway, but I did not do that.
Yeah, somebody called David and said, "Hey, are you on the radio?"
No, actually, I have no idea. But having said that, that's what the premise of the Shriner cigar is an appendage of the brand. But we named it Shriner because that was one of the organizations that's appendage, and we wanted to add an added benefit to that, which would be donating proceeds back to the organization to help all the good things that they do at the Shriner Hospital. And they do a tremendous amount. Most people aren't familiar with exactly how much care and money it takes to run that organization with regard to the hospitals, and it is a phenomenal organization to be associated with. My father is a Shriner. I'm a Master Mason myself. I have not yet joined the Shriners. Just an issue of time.
Sure.
My buddy Eddie, who owns Hireman Solomon, is also a Shriner as well. So I'm a Shriner in training, as it were, as they say, because I just don't have the time. But when I do, I will definitely be looking forward to it. And so I get back in this manner and affiliated with Hireman Solomon.
We are neither Shriners or Masons here as of yet, Trey and I. However, on the 19th next week, the following week, we will be at Ferg's on Central. We all know about our relationship with Ferg's. And we will be doing a cigar and beverage event. That will also include a ticket to the game the next day and a VIP invitation to our tailgate event the following day at the game. So for the price of basically a ticket, you're going to get a free cigar.
A Shriner.
Thanks to the man to my right. You're going to get a nice cocktail, thanks to my friends at Ferg's, St. Pete Distillery, a copious amount of our beer friends. It's going to make for a really great night. There are some rumors floating around that some fairly famous NFL guys might wander in the room. We're sure hoping for that. They support Shriners amazingly in the NFL. So, listen, this makes it easy. Ferg's, cocktails, appetizers, a ticket to a football game, $25. All the charity.
And we'll probably be doing some raffles with some swag as well.
I'm thinking that's going to happen as well.
And we'll probably have a table up if people want to donate some more by buying some more great Masonic cigars or Blanco cigars, for that fact. They'll be available as well.
Absolutely. Then the following day, as you know, here at the station, we'll be broadcasting the game. We'll be doing the pregame. Our pregame is going to be in the parking lot. We're going to be tailgating, as we always do.
Oh, yeah.
And anybody who showed up at Ferg's the night before gets a free ticket to the tailgate that day. We'll be cooking some food out there on our Traeger grills. As you know, we love those babies. We'll be probably spreading the free cocktails around the room. It's going to be a great, great day. It's going to be a great couple days for a great cause. Trey, you prepared for this?
Listen, man, I'm ready to have some nice craft brews, have a nice cigar. I'm really looking forward to it.
And I'm looking forward to the fellowship. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's about brotherhood and doing good things for good people.
There's no doubt about it. And I've had the opportunity to meet quite a few Shriners over the last couple of weeks as we planned this event kind of in a hurry. What great guys. They just come to the table, ready to go. What do we got to do to make this happen? David included. In his role in this, we thank you so much for participating in this thing. It's going to be a fun couple days. So I look at it this way. Cigars, football, cocktails, beers, some appetizers at Ferg's. Ferg's, you just never can go wrong when you hang out there. I have so much fun all the time.
Yeah, it's a good place.
Yeah. I was introduced, you'd get a kick out of this. I was introduced to the Ferg's living room this past week. I had no idea what they were talking about. So I'm sitting there and I'm just grabbing some food. It had been a long day. Trey, I don't know where you were, but I think they might have been out of food that day. So they probably didn't let you in the front door. But I was introduced to this group of people that have been going to Ferg's since like pretty much day one. And they're called the Ferg's Living Room. I didn't think much about it. So the other day I went back to meet with your guy. And sure enough, I walked past the living room. And it was like I felt like I was Norm from Cheers now. I was like part of the living room now. I got like some sacred, indoctrination into the group despite I hadn't been going there for 20 years.
Well, it's not the Masons or anything like that. You didn't get a secret handshake, did you?
Well, no, but I got a beer.
That's just about as good.
Yeah, there you go. If somebody argue better.
There you go.
So I'll take that. But what I love about Ferg's is I shared the story of the event we're doing with them. And the first thing this guy says to me is, hey, we've really made plans to come back for that. Mm-hmm. That's a nice group of people over there. It's a great place to enjoy some free time. Come out. Check out this event. Again, the 19th from 5 to 8 will be at Ferg's. Out in the back, you can have a cigar, enjoy the evening, couple free cocktails, one free cocktail, I don't want to overstate that, and a ticket to the game the next day. The following day, come on out. Free tailgate. Go to the game. Have a great time. Watch a bunch of future NFL players all playing in one game. Can't ask for more than that.
And what does it benefit? And if you ask any Shriner, what are the Shriners about? The main thing they always say is it's about the kids.
No doubt about it.
Kids. It's about the kids. That's it.
And the one thing I want to be specific about on the 19th, what they're doing with the money that we raise is that money's going towards transportation
1 minute
of children across the country to get to where they need to be at which particular service they need. It's an immense amount of money required to do that. This money's going specifically to that. we're pretty sure some pretty cool people are going to show up at this event. Well, the guy next to me will be there. And I'm pretty sure that the guy to my left, Tyler, who just stepped back in, will be there. So we'll have a blast with it. Check it out on Facebook. All the details will be on there. You can find it on our Facebook, Instagram, etc. Let's get you out there and let's enjoy this Shriners game.
Guys, you're listening to Tailgater University right here on Sports Talk 1040, The Team. You don't want to go anywhere. Got a half hour left to go, so keep it locked right here. I'm Tyler Bradley. He's TC. We'll be back after the break.
Ooh. Let's keep you in here. We'll go back to your cigars.
Oh, okay. Live stream. We've killed their voice over IP phone lines. People call and they can't hear the phone. Good job, boy.
Thank you. Wait, what?
So that's not good. They're not bitching.
Not good for them.
They're not
For here?
Yeah. They can't. Their phone rings, but because it's a voice over IP, it's all done by internet.
So let's shut Facebook down.
They're not complaining. We're almost done. Oh, just let it ride. They're not. They're actually they were laughing about it. So okay.
Never a dull moment.
Enjoy your last time. You will not be invited back.
Look, oh my lord. That's the owner. Ooh, he just cranked that thing.
What are you giving a class? Yeah. She's Southern. I hear an accent there.
He's from West Virginia.
West Baghdad. You graduated from WV too.
Well, you better go talk.
Oh, we had a conversation the other day.
Bless you.
He's a man here also. I think
How many
graduated
mics do we
81.
have out here? How many
I'm sure he
headsets
knows
do we
my
have
friend's
all
band.
together?
I have an extra 2 extra in here.
How many can we do out here at once?
3 for today.
All right. Would have been nice to have those two come back on and wrap up. Did Mike just leave? Didn't say goodbye? No, golf guy.
I don't know. I haven't seen him.
He left
No,
earlier.
Mike.
He left earlier. Yeah.
He just didn't show up.
Your robots go into high-traffic, secured locations. Engage with customers daily. Deliver amazing Froyo experiences to customers, and you collect the profits. They work so you don't have to.
Well, I definitely want my own Froyo robots. How do I get them?
It's easy. Just go to froyofranchising.com and enter promo code 8282. That's froyofranchising.com, promo code 8282. Locations are going fast, so don't wait. Again, that's froyofranchising.com, promo code 8282.
Three Daughters Brewing is located in the Art District in St. Pete, and they offer bold and innovative craft beers. With their 30-barrel brew house, they have the capacity to serve Tampa Bay and the surrounding areas amazing beers, such as the Beach Blonde Ale, Sternline Oatmeal Stout, Bimini Twist IPA, Rod Bender Red Ale, and other seasonal options. Their taps rotate often in the tasting room. Over 90 recipes. There's plenty to do with access to games and more. Great beers for all your tailgate needs. And the next time you're in the tasting room, try the brand new Dock Light IPA. Only 118 calories of amazing flavor.
Ladies and gentlemen, Outkick the Coverage with Clay Travis is coming right for you.
Vince McMahon has sold over 3 million shares of WWE. He has registered 5 different XFL trademarks.
What are you guys doing after this? You got any hope? So going back home, huh? Gotta get back in the bed.
What's new with you?
Chicken soup. I gotta go to the office. I got an interview with a dude that's gonna be working for me locally. He'll probably be at the event. Just gonna finalize our working relationship. I gotta look at his. I'm this kind of guy that's plan your work and work your plan.
Hey, you seen
So I
some
want to see
of
his
the
plan.
comments you guys got here?
Yeah,
a
I got
couple
it
people
up.
asking questions.
Hey, right there.
You answering them?
It's my uncle.
What?
My uncle said Tyler, your great grandfather was a Shriner.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. It's a nice day. We complain. We complain about it. We complain about it.
When we come back, TC, I'm going to just answer a couple questions real quickly, and then I'll turn it back over to you guys. I'll get the mic for the other mic set up.
What's that? Oh, yeah, yeah.
Welcome back, Tailgater University, Sports Talk 1040, The Team. I'm Tyler Bradley. He's TC. We got David Blanco with us still. And
what up?
Just a couple of quick answers here. I see we're getting a lot of traction on Facebook, getting some questions asked. Jeremy from Ohio says, do you think Frost's success at UCF will translate to being the head man in the Power 5 Big Ten at Nebraska? How long till he brings the black shirts back to prominence? You know, Jeremy, to be completely honest with you, I think Scott Frost is a hell of a recruiter. He's one of the best offensive minds in college football. Now, moving up to the Big Ten is a little bit different than the AAC, so I do think he is going to turn around that Nebraska program after being left in shambles by Coach Riley. And I think it's going to take a solid 4 to 5 years, though. It's not going to happen as fast as it did at UCF because he is in a much better conference. You know, he's got to face the teams like Ohio State, the Wisconsins, and the Michigans, and it's definitely going to not be as easy of a turnaround, but I do think that it can be. So just wanted to answer a quick question real quick that we were getting on Facebook. TC, I want to turn it back to you and David, and I will let you guys get rolling.
David.
Yes, sir.
I want to do a little bragging for a minute here. Not about me, but about you. What? It's my understanding that Blanco has won not one, but 2 awards for the cigars here in the recent weeks. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, actually, a little surprising. I was a little taken back, pleasantly, I might add. There's a online blog and cigar review site and all-around cigar-centric site. It's called iRobusto.com, so a little plug for them. And they, like everybody else in this industry, do a top 25 cigars of the year type of thing. And, you know, everybody likes to pontificate about what their best cigar of the year or this, you know, just like wine or beer. And the funny thing is, in this industry like those, it's all subjective. It's about what you like. And there's no right or wrong, in my opinion. It's about the cigar that you personally like. So a lot of these guys that own these sites will, give their top 10. And so that's one person's opinion. And then people will go off that and say, well, let me try that, or let me see what they think about that. Well, they also did a top 25 as voted on by the consumers in that community. And so they put like over 60 cigars out there, 70 cigars. They nominated all these cigars, of which we had 2 of all of them. And it was done by voting, and it was not by 1 or 2 people. It was about all the people that are in that community, like I said. And we came out number 1 and number 2, cigar of the year. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I have never seen a list like that, whether it be beer, wine, or anything like that, where the number 1 and 2 positions were both held by the same manufacturer. So the Blanco 9 in Lancero was voted number 1 cigar of the year 2017 at iRobusto. And the number 2 cigar of the year was the Blanco Liga Exclusiva de Familia, which simply means exclusive blend of the family, in the Pennsylvania Broadleaf Maduro and the Salomon Size, which were the only 2 cigars that I had even nominated.
Awesome. Here's the thing I know about this family, and I've had the chance to spend a lot of time with David and his father. They're great people. It's a great family. It's a military family. They get it. They get it out there, whether it's their charitable efforts or the efforts that go into creating just amazing cigars. Now, I'm no aficionado. I enjoy a cigar every now and then, just as much as everybody else. But they come up with these great cigars. And I'm sitting out here and I'm staring at the range and everybody's hitting balls and I'm sitting here talking about it. They've actually even got, and I think it's a partnership if I'm not mistaken, they've got a box called the Front 9 and the Back 9 of cigars. Tell me a little bit about those cigars.
True story. So my buddy Ryan owns that brand, and I import that for him. And we assist him with the distribution of that product, and it's called the Front 9 and Back 9, or it's actually called Swinger Cigars. Is the brand, as in swingers swinging a golf club. So it's a golf-centric brand, and he's got 2 lines called the Front 9 and the Back 9, and then he's got different sizes he calls par 4, par 3, par 5, stuff like that. So everything is associated with naming of terms in the golfing community. He's got a great Habano wrapper and a natural wrapper as well. Mild and medium, of course, the larger size ring gauges, double Coronas. For those of you that aren't familiar with that, it's like a 7-inch by 52, and then the 6 by 60. Those are perfect size cigars for a half, Front 9, and then the Back 9 would be a second cigar. So you get a couple cigars from him. He's got them blended marvelously through one of the guys out in the Dominican Republic, and And you go out there, and he really focuses on giving cigar sizes and blends for people who want to go golfing. He doesn't give you that really full body punch in the mouth, so by the fifth hole, your head is spinning and you can't hit the ball. So it's something that is a nice casual smoke as you're tooling along the golf course and enjoying your beverage of choice in your golf cart.
That's perfect life right there. That's perfect life. I've had this question for you, and I think probably our listeners will fall into the same category. We've been teaching folks a lot about craft beers over the last few weeks. Let's talk a little bit about the evolution of a cigar. Now, if I'm correct, your cigars start their life in Nicaragua. Is that correct?
That is correct. Our family, and by our family I mean the Plasencias, we're family related with the Plasencia family. We at one time we actually had our own factory. We closed our own factory because my one uncle became ill as a result of his service in Vietnam. He was exposed to Agent Orange and ended up in a wheelchair. So we closed our factory and moved our facility for manufacturing to our cousin's factory in Nicaragua, and they are also the growers of the tobacco down there for a lot of the tobacco we use. And then they purchase tobaccos from about 15 other countries from around the planet, and that gives me the ability to blend cigars, with a wide variety and range and spectrum of flavors, tastes, and aromas. And it's worked out very well. I've been doing it myself, blending for about 20 years. My family, and that means my cousins, and us have been in the industry since the 1800s. I'm the fifth generation in the business, and the first one born here in the United States. My family is, of course, Cuban heritage. What else would we be doing? We're Cuban, right? We're making cigars. How cliche could that be? Come on, guys. You got to have some fun with that. So, we started in 1998, amongst other things that I did. And I grew up as a kid in the inner city of Chicago, and started my company in my 20s with my father and my uncle as partners. And it's been going since then. Up in Chicago, I was a deputy sheriff, and I was a Chicago firefighter paramedic. Did that for a number of years, and of course, military service. I'm still active reserve. I joined when I was 18. I don't have a break in service yet. I have 28 years. I can't believe it when I say that. 28 years of service now. I feel like I'm getting old, guys.
You got me by a bit there.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So I continue to serve in the military as well, but my passion is my cigar business, and but part of life is service, and it should be for anybody that's interested in being a productive member of society. And so we serve, all of us, my father, my brothers, myself, whether it's military or some other aspect, service, giving back to the community. And that's one of those things that the Masonic organization, as well as the Shriners, are very simpatico with. They believe in the same thing. It's about giving back, and we have a similar philosophy of service and taking care of each other. And when I say each other, I mean our fellow men, not just members of our organization. And helping those that need help and that are in need, and giving those a hand up. I'm a firm believer in the old saying of teach a man to fish, not give him a fish. You know what I mean?
I'm with you.
There's a difference between the two. And you give a man a fish, he's hungry after he eats the fish. You give him a fishing pole, teach him how to fish, and that goes good with your show coming up, right?
Feed him for life.
There you go. You feed him for life. And you guys got a fishing show, too, so you guys know all about that.
Yes.
See how I segued into that?
That was
awesome.
I got one more segue there, though. We both share a good friend in Matt Dom over at Mastery's Brewery. Matt has become a friend of mine over the last few months. David's known him for quite some time. Matt lost a family member, his grandmother, this week, Juliet Mastery Miller. She was kind of the passion behind Matt creating the brewery out there on the beach. A great woman that he really looked to his whole life. We want to give a shout out to his family during this time of loss and gain, as I see it, having had such a wonderful woman in their lives. We're all thinking about you, buddy, and we hope things are going well, and best of wishes and best of thoughts, and our condolences, obviously, from the station. You're a big part of what we do here, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you soon.
Absolutely, man. I'm very sorry. Our condolences from the entire Blanco family, and I was lucky enough I got to meet her. And what a sweet, lovely little lady that she was in her 90s, and she'll be missed by everybody. And you're lucky you had her that long, Matt and the family, and it's a privilege to get to meet her myself.
Yep. What a great life she had. From what I understand, I never had the opportunity to meet her, but boy, nothing but great things, and to have that long life, God bless. Back to things other than cigars and friends and family.
Got plenty of sports we can get on here, TC. We got some.
Oh, wait, this is a
playoff
sports
games
show?
today.
What?
I just want to see if he's calmed down yet. Because all I'm going to do for the next year is I'm going to walk by his desk, and no matter what he's doing, I'm just going to lean over and whisper his ear, Gruden.
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 Careful, TC.
Fire him up.
Tread lightly.
Well, you can just you can make it more subtle. Be like Chucky.
Chucky.
I'll chuck something at you. After a couple of times, that'll drive me bonkers.
Chucky. What do we got coming across Facebook? Anything there that we need to address?
Actually found out my great-grandfather was a Shriner. I know there was a lot of
kidding.
Shriner talk going on there, and I want to thank my uncle for pointing that out to me, because
awesome.
I didn't know that. And actually, my great-grandfather was also a running back at the University of Georgia, and they take on Alabama here in the national championship. But go figure, he played at Georgia, but I'm a Hurricanes fan.
Yeah, I can see he's like all decked out. For those of you that can see on Facebook in hurricane stuff.
It's all about the U.
Are you still in the morning here, or what's going on?
You know, they were ahead of schedule this year. You know,
Okay.
2018 was really supposed to be the year. They really overachieved this year, and it does stink to get to the Orange Bowl and lose to Wisconsin, but
Yeah.
there's no taking away. A 10-win season looks phenomenal. Finally get a shot at the ACC championship, which they hadn't had since they entered the league in, I believe, 2004. So it really was a great year, a little bit ahead of schedule, but if they can find a quarterback that's actually competent and can understand the game of football and learn how to throw it to an open receiver,
Well, it sounds like my
Miami's
team.
gonna be set.
That sounds like my team.
Which is?
Oh, I'm a Chicago Bears fan. I'm from Chicago.
Ooh.
We need a quarterback like we need nothing else.
Well,
I
you
mean,
got Trubisky out there.
yeah, but the pieces around him are just. I mean, he
A little rough.
He can't play if he doesn't have pieces around him. So the quarterback is the key, as you know.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the focus there. So. And then, of course, we gave away our kicker. What was that in September?
Yeah.
What was that?
yeah. But, I mean, you guys got Jordan Howard. You guys got some you do have some talent on the
We
offense.
gave Gold up. How do we give Gold up? He's like one of the best kickers of all time. I guess they were looking at his bait, using him as bait. I don't know. You tell me.
That's a good question.
Well, he's
there.
out in Frisco now. He's enjoying it over there. Who knows? Eating on the wharf.
Yeah, talk about finishing the year strong. Jimmy G out there in the 49ers. TC, I know you probably weren't too thrilled that the Patriots traded away Jimmy G. And, you know, he's 7-0 as a starter in his career, a couple of games with the Patriots, and then finished the season 5-0 with the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners look like a team that going into next year, they're going to be a team to mess. They're not going to be a team to mess with in the NFC.
No doubt. Well, I got a little man who's out there Joe Swacky. He's a right guard, and he loves Urlacher. So when Urlacher got the nod for the Hall of Fame nomination this week, that was a big, exciting moment. So you did have some good news, Bears fans.
True story. And what a great guy he is.
No doubt about it.
Got to meet him when I was in Chicago.
Absolutely. Myself as well, a couple times. Just a solid guy. Deserves to be in the Hall. Looking forward to him getting in there. Good stuff. So
Just wish
there
he
is
had
that.
Just wish he had a ring, you know.
Yeah, that would have completed the mission for sure.
What are you going to do?
And he was searching hard for that ring. Boy, he played his heart out.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier about guys that just play to the last down of their career in college. There's a guy who did it in the NFL. He never needed another dollar in his life, and he played football as if this was the last down every single time.
To
And
be
I
a Bears
respect
fan, it's like being a Cubs fan. It's like you're going to go down with your team, and Chicago sports in general. It's just like it. But I do have to say the same thing about there's like Cleveland and the Bills, and the Bills are they're doing what can I say? But those are some teams that I feel the same about. You got to really be a true fan of your city and where you're at to support those teams. But we live and die with our teams. That's what makes it special about. I got to say that about being up north. It's a little bit different than down here in the South because so many people are transplants and so many people move. Their loyalties sometimes become to two teams. Well, where they live now and where they are from. I haven't been able to make that transition. I'm still the guy that votes for the team where I grew up. I just can't bring myself to wear anything Tampa yet. Maybe one day. I don't know. Put enough of that. Put enough Matt's beer in me from Masters Brewery in me. Maybe I'll put on something Tampa.
And then about right now, the Back 9 cigar or the Blanco 9. That's what I'm thinking.
Hey, it
That
says number
gets us
9 on
there.
the band, but it's number 1 in your heart, man.
There you go, buddy. There you go. David, as always, thank you very much.
Hey, it's my pleasure, guys. It's a great day to be out here. I appreciate you having me on. I look forward to seeing everybody out at the Shriner events. And until then, stay smoky, guys.
Awesome. There he goes, Dave Blanco. Guys, Tailgater University right here on Sports Talk 1040, The Team. On the other side of the break, we'll wrap up the show. We're going to bring on Paul and Jason from the fishing show, wrap it up. It's been a great day with our first weekend of our big lineup with the fishing show from 8 to 9. Got our golf show on the tee from 9 to 10. And then, of course, yours truly, Tailgaters University, right here from 10 to noon. Just a lineup you don't want to miss on Saturday mornings. You can watch us on Facebook. You can tune in on 1040 or 1080 in Orlando. It's really changing the way Saturday mornings are going to be, and it's something you want to be a part of. So, guys, don't change the dial. We'll be back after the break. Tailgater University.
There's not like any time I've ever been in.
Nice job.
Good stuff, man. Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. All right, so we got
One more and we're down.
You guys should actually tailgate while you do this shit.
Well, that's what we're going to do on the 20th.
Yeah, no, I get that. But I mean, like, every time you do a show, you should set up a tent and like just rock. Yeah, man. It's like half the band. People would get a kick out of it, especially since now I know you're on Facebook Live.
Yeah.
You know, just have fun with it. Like a big variety show.
Oh, and we're going to
walk around.
This is our
don't be
first
behind a table because that's what everybody does.
This is our
Be like
first day
free-flowing,
doing all
recording
three.
stuff. Nice.
And that we got to make sure that we have a little cigar, something or other, to put out like we did with the coffee today.
No, I'm like, actually smoke a cigar, have a beer, and
I'm in.
tailgate the shit out of this thing. I mean, just really.
FCC will allow us to do
Why
that.
we got to fake it? Yeah, is that allowed? I mean, it's radio. Why can't you drink on radio? Oh! But I mean, is there some type of regulation you can't drink?
No, I mean, you just got to be smart about it.
What do you mean smart about it?
Not get hammered on air.
Oh yeah, of course you don't get hammered, but I mean, just like remember the skit on Saturday Night Live about the guys with bears?
The bears.
And they'd be like sitting in the dark, they'd be drinking, and they'd be just have a fun time in front of the camera. I don't know. I'm just that guy hanging out of the box. What do I know?
No, but your spot. That's how the show was developed.
I mean, exactly how every radio show's behind the table. Guys with headphones. Who wants to watch that? Watching is the key. It's not just listening. Yeah, what's going on? You know what I mean? That's
hard is it to get wireless headsets?
That's where we're trying to. I mean, look at this place. Yeah, look at this place. Yeah, you want people to hang out. Let me know when you got to. I'll bring the broads.
Paul, we're not picking you up on the camera.
There you
You're
go.
gonna have to scoot in. Watch the wire. I'm having him scoot in now.
Nice.
Somebody's
jealous.
It was indirect.
I detected a hint of jealousy in that remark right there.
But this one, I thought I gave it to
better?
Somebody's jealous.
No. I'm very well taken care
Yeah, you'll need to scoot in too, Jay. Scoot in. Scoot in a little bit.
How dare you, sir? You know who I am? Just got
Well, you know who I am.
Unfortunately, yes. Unfortunately, yes, I do know who you are.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Back for bias. It always helps when you're unmuted.
I'll reach out Monday.
You know, the crazy thing about it, now try talking.
Yeah.
So here, wow. I don't know if it has anything to do with what you plugged in the back, but
Should.
With the resources of the three biggest sports networks, NBC, CBS Sports Radio, and Fox Sports Radio. Smarter sports, better sports, pure sports. Talk 1040, The Team.
Big Australia is back at Outback Steakhouse. Hurry in to indulge.
You ready?
Be really cool to have the Traeger out back with a prime rib rolling on that
that's what I'm
sucker.
saying, man. Make this a fucking.
That's what. Trust
Did
me.
I just swear on Facebook?
You did. The 20th, man. And I know you're not in town.
I know. Don't worry, my father will be there.
Yeah. I'm gonna have your father be all fired up when I come. Yeehaw!
And Rod's a good time too. Rod.
Yeah. He's an interesting character. Oh yeah.
You're live. Welcome back, Tailgater University Sports Talk 1040, The Team. I'm Tyler Bradley, TC. When we got the Fish Pod Network guys coming on with us, guys. Thanks for coming on to wrap up the last segment here with us and kind of finish off what was a great day and great first day with our brand new lineup.
Yeah, we had a blast. We had a lot of fun this morning.
Yeah,
this
it's
is
been a
great.
fun morning, for
Beautiful
sure.
place out here. Couldn't ask for better.
Now, for a lot of the listeners that may not have been able to tune in this morning, I know you guys had a pretty prominent guest on talking about a little fishing. So why don't you kind of recap what that was all about?
Yeah, we had Hyde Trong from Miami, and he is a land-based guide down there, and they have a really unique fishery down there. And we went last year in February, and went out for a half-day trip, and he put us on some monster peacock
Yeah, he
bass.
did.
It was really good, and he's really knowledgeable. I'd say if you missed that show, go back to Facebook and listen to that. If you want to know about peacock bass and the Miami fishery down there, Hi is an expert for sure.
And that's available for the whole show today, right, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, all 3 shows were on FPN Broadcasting Facebook, so they can go back and check those out. Obviously, Tailgater University was on their Facebook Live, as well as our show, FPN Outdoors.
I would definitely like to see a lot of people interacting on Facebook, get some questions going and stuff. It'd be awesome.
What an amazing first day for all of us, huh?
Yeah.
This all started out with you and I, Tyler, sitting. Where were we? The
Very
Tiki
first show.
place. No, the Tiki place where you and I sat down and kind of put this down.
Over on Treasure
Ricky
Island.
T's.
Yep.
Ricky T's. We're sitting there just having a chat about this, and here we are. 12 weeks later, 3 shows instead of 1 show. We got my fishing buddies. I can't think of anything other to call them than that. They're just great guys.
Still waiting to get on that boat, though.
Yeah, we're having a blast.
Well, you know what? Hey, let's go now because it's still a bit brisk out, and I'd love to freeze y'all out. That'd be
I
fun.
bet you would. I bet you would. Now,
Tyler's face just went numb.
Oh, it did. So I'm looking at pictures of these giant peacock bass, and I mean,
I'm
so
sorry.
in that picture
There's a peacock bass in that picture.
Now tell me, these look to be a pretty decent size. I mean, is this average? You think?
No,
And how big would you think that is?
Those are on the larger scale for what we get here in Florida.
If you go to the Amazon, those fish get a lot bigger. But
they
here
get
in
real
Florida,
big.
this was an introduced species. Hi was talking about this morning, and it's actually the first introduced species to actually work.
Yeah, for sure.
Usually it goes south, but it actually worked out well. So.
Oh, no kidding. So if you guys were going out on the water today here in the Tampa Bay area, what is it that you'd be putting the rods in the water for?
Me personally, I would be going after the sea trout and redfish. For me, I don't know about
and
offshore.
Again, right now with the grouper season that just closed and amberjack is still kind of up in the air. It's kind of a sketchy gray area right now. I myself would probably go out and run out for some redfish and trout. Right now with the negative low tides that we're getting, you're getting these redfish puddled up in these potholes, and it's just slaying them left and right.
You would think with the cold that it would make it not such a good day for fishing, but actually is invigorated all these fish, and they're all really biting right now. They got the feed bag on.
Yeah, you just got to slow your retrieval down. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, just thinking about being out on the boat right now, though, and cruising at a decent speed in this weather, I'd be ready to anchor up and just throw the lines in the water as soon as possible.
Let me tell you what, buddy. You couldn't get stopped fast enough, but this guy here will torch you.
Oh,
I actually had to go run a boat this week when it was that first cold snap came in, and it was probably about 41 degrees when I hit the water. We're hitting speeds of 61 miles an hour.
I'm usually really jealous.
Brisk.
I'm usually really jealous when he posts those, but that day I was not jealous.
Now, see, I'm the guy that during the week, I'm on a show with Rock Riley from 3 to 6, and while I'm sitting there running the board and everything, I have a little personal heater I got to keep in there this week, brother. I mean, I'm in there, and Rock's always like, oh, can I please turn it down? I'm starting to sweat, and it's like, man, it's 40 degrees outside. I'm a Florida boy. I'm on these blood thinners from this surgery. I'm just freezing my
that's what's
nay-nays
doing
off,
it for
man.
you right there. I'm a natural-born Floridian myself, and I love the cold.
Ooh, more power to you.
He's got that dang thing on when it's 85 in there. Who's he kidding?
Like an old lady in there, huh?
So we started the day off with FPM, which was an absolute blast. Then we had Mike Rickard from On the Tee, his first show with us. Nice show. Great guests. A lot of fun. How could it not be a good day when you're sitting out here at Cove K, this beautiful course?
Oh, it's gorgeous. Had Leaf Coffee out here.
No doubt. Filled up quickly.
It did.
That Leaf Coffee came in handy
Yes,
today,
it
boy.
did.
Yes, sir.
Always. And it's the best coffee out there. Sorry, anybody else out there is listening that makes coffee. Leaf Coffee is the best coffee I've ever tasted.
It is.
It's unbelievable. And then some Tailgater stuff, finishing it up. We got a lot of exciting stuff coming up. Next weekend, we are out at St. Pete Beach for the half marathon. Mayor Al Johnson puts that on out there. That'll be a great event. Some of our partners that'll be out there are Outback, our friends at Leaf, some friends from JJ Taylor, and I'm forgetting one. Who else is? Orange Theory. Orange Theory is going to be out there giving out some water. We're going to be out there filming, broadcasting. It's going to be a great weekend. Bonfire on the beach Saturday night. How cool is that? Then the next week, we're right out again in St. Pete for the Shriners back-to-back events on the 19th and 20th You can't have any more fun than that, can you?
No, not at all, not at all. And so, TC, real quick before we get off today,
it's that
you're
time.
you're a grill master. In weather like this, what are you throwing on the grill? You know, early January, little chilly outside. What's on the menu?
Costco is just screaming my name right now. I want to go there and grab a couple of those 2-inch thick steaks, and then just get the grill as hot as I can possibly get it. Sear both sides, then bring it down and cook it a little slower for a bit. Nice medium rare steak today. Boy, that says football, Blanco 9s, a mastery beer. It just doesn't get any better than that.
No, it doesn't. And, you know, now that you bring up steak, man, I may have to hit up Brooks' dad, Rick. He throws one of those bad boys on the grill, and
Tyler, you got it all wrong. Hey, Tom, what time are we coming over this afternoon?
I'm headed to Tom's house.
You just tell us what time. I got the address.
You got the Traeger.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So what time are we coming to your house?
Everyone went quiet. I was waiting on a time.
Yeah, right? What happened, Paul? Got that turned around
We're
on you.
just following him right down the road. He doesn't even know it yet. He does not even know it yet. It's been so much fun out here today, guys, though. Just one thing right after another. I would really love to thank the Shrivers for having us out here.
Yeah.
They are just a wonderful husband and wife that run this golf course. They've had it for 3 years now. And talk about a magnificent turnaround.
20.
The members are always with them, always enjoying it. We're so thankful. Tailgater University, FPN, On the Tee. We all loved being out here. Thank you so much to the Shrivers and Cove K.
All right, guys. Tailgater University coming to a close. We'll be back next weekend with the same great lineup Saturday morning. Take care.
Have a great week.
Peace out.
Start your day with a local sports show.
That worked well. That was good.